This is the news on NTA International. I am Lami Ali. John Bamidele is a sign language interpreter. Let's now begin with the headlines. Abuja motorists lament persistent queues in petrol stations. NNPC Limited blames situation on flooding and logistical challenges. Kenya's Salvation Corps leader goes on trial on terrorism charges after death of over 400 followers. Also on the news, security experts caution Nigerian youths against following Kenya protests as model, say consultation and dialogue best way to go. A warm welcome to the news on NTA International. France is facing political deadlock after parliamentary elections deal a blow to the far-right National Rally, but leave no party with a majority. National Rally have been rushed to third place behind a hastily assembled left-wing alliance, and Emmanuel Macron's centrist is also leading. Justin Bemunyi has the details.
French Prime Minister Gabriel Attal has announced he will resign after a broad left-leaning coalition took the most seats in Sunday's runoff parliamentary election. The new Popular Front fell short of a majority but surged ahead of the far-right National Rally, which placed third behind the centrist party of President Emmanuel Macron. Voter turnout was high. The outcome leaves France facing the stunning prospect of a hung parliament and threatens political paralysis in a pillar of the European Union and Olympic host country. The far right drastically increased the number of seats it holds in parliament but fell far short of expectations. The results come with just 18 days to go until Paris hosts the Olympic Games. What happens next in this nuclear-armed nation has potential to impact the war in Ukraine, global diplomacy, and Europe's economic stability. Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
Now, U.S. troops have completed a withdrawal from their base in Niger's capital, Niamey, and will fully depart from Agadez in the north before a September 15th deadline set by the country's military ruler. Both countries confirmed this late Sunday. Niger's military leaders scrapped a military cooperation deal with Washington in March after seizing power in the July 2023 coup. The United States had around 650 soldiers in Niger as part of anti-jihadist missions in several Sahel nations of West Africa, including a major drone base near Agadez. The Defense Ministry of Niger and the U.S. Defense Department announced the withdrawal of American forces and equipment from the Niamey Base 101, and it's now completed, the two countries said in a statement. A final flight carrying U.S. troops was due to leave Niamey late Sunday. The U.S. presence had stood at around 950 troops, and 766 soldiers have left Niger since the military ordered their departure. AFP learned at a ceremony at the base attended by Niger's Army Chief of Staff Mamman Sani Keo and U.S. General Kenneth Ekman. The Philippines and Japan have signed a key defense pact on Monday that will allow the deployment of troops on each other's territory as they boost ties in the face of China's growing assertiveness. The Reciprocal Access Agreement, RAA, was finalized in Manila, where Japanese Defense Minister Minoru Kihara and Foreign Minister Yoko Kamikawa held talks with the Philippine counterparts, Gilberto Teodoro and Enrique Manalo. Over now to Justin Bemunyi for the details.
The accord, which Tokyo and Manila began negotiating in November, provides the legal framework for Japan and the Philippines to send defense personnel to each other's territory for training and other operations. Teodoro and Kamikawa signed the agreement at the Presidential Palace. It will take effect once ratified by lawmakers in both countries. The signing was another milestone in our shared endeavor to ensure a rules-based international order to ensure peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific and particularly in our region, Teodoro told reporters. The Philippines and Japan are long-time allies of the United States, which has been strengthening its alliances from Canberra to Tokyo to counter China's growing military might and influence in the region. Chinese officials have accused the United States of trying to create an Asia-Pacific version of NATO. The signing of the RAA comes as China's saber-rattling towards Taiwan and over the South China Sea fuels fears of a potential conflict that could drag in the United States. There have been escalating confrontations at sea between Chinese and Philippine ships as Beijing steps up efforts to push its claims to nearly all of the strategic South China Sea. Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
Now, India's Prime Minister has embarked on a 2-day trip to Russia starting Monday, marking his first visit since Moscow deployed troops to Ukraine. Justin Bemunyi again reports that the Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit will include a meeting with President Vladimir Putin, whom he last met in Russia in 2019 in the far eastern port of Vladivostok.
According to Chetig Bajpai, a senior South Asia research fellow at the UK-based Chatham House, India is gradually distancing itself from forums where Russia and China hold significant influence. Bajpai noted that this is evident in India's relatively subdued presidency of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization last year, and now Modi's decision not to attend this year's summit. The two leaders also had a face-to-face meeting in September 2022 in Uzbekistan during a summit of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization bloc. India has been a significant trading partner for Russia since the Cold War era, with its importance growing after the Kremlin's military intervention in Ukraine in February 2022. Under Modi's leadership, India has refrained from criticizing Russia's actions in Ukraine while stressing the importance of a peaceful resolution. The ongoing conflict has strained the relationship between the two long-standing allies and pushed Russia closer to India's competitor, China. Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
Now from Kenya comes the report that the leader of a doomsday cult went on trial on Monday on charges of terrorism over the deaths of more than 400 of his followers in a macabre case that shocked the world. Self-proclaimed pastor Paul Ntenge Mackenzie appeared in a packed courtroom in the Indian Ocean port city of Mombasa along with 94 co-defendants. Principal Magistrate Leah Juma ordered the removal of journalists from the court shortly after the start of the hearing to enable a protected witness to take the stand in camera. Mackenzie, who was arrested in April last year, is alleged to have incited his acolytes to starve to death in order to meet Jesus in one of the world's worst cult-related massacres. The father of 7 and his co-accused pleaded not guilty to the charges of terrorism at a hearing in January. The 55 men and 40 women also face charges of murder, manslaughter, as well as child torture and cruelty in separate cases. The remains of more than 440 people have been unearthed so far in the remote wilderness island from the Indian Ocean coastal town of Malindi in a case that has been dubbed the Shakahola Forest Massacre. Autopsies have found that while starvation appeared to be the main cause of death, some of the victims, including children, were strangled, beaten or suffocated. Previous court documents also said that some of the bodies had their organs removed. The EU's Climate Change Monitoring Service has confirmed that last month was the hottest June on record, continuing a streak of exceptional temperatures that some scientists said put 2024 on track to be the world's hottest recorded year. Justin Bemunyi has the story.
June 2024 was the warmest June ever, marking the 13th straight month of record-breaking temperatures, according to the European Climate Service Copernicus. It also marked the 12th month in a row that the world was 1.5 degrees Celsius warmer than pre-industrial times. Copernicus senior climate scientist Nicholas Julian said in an interview that it is a stark warning that Earth is getting closer to this very important limit set by the Paris Agreement, adding that the global temperature continues to increase, saying it has at a rapid pace. Julian said that 1.5 degrees Celsius temperature mark is important because it is the warming limit nearly all the countries in the world agreed upon in the 2015 Paris Climate Agreement, though he and other meteorologists have said that threshold won't be crossed until there is long-term duration of the extended heat, as much as 20 or 30 years. Earth's more than year-long streak of record-shattering heat could soon come to an end, but not the climate chaos that has come with it, scientists have said.
It is totally not a surprise to see the June record being broken after the May record having been broken after the April record. So we have had these 12 months of record hot month, which is because we have also record high levels of greenhouse gas emissions because of the burning of fossil fuels. It means much more heavy rainfall events with devastating floods as a consequence, which do violate the right to life, the right to housing, the right to a free culture and social life for many, many people. And that is why we care about climate change, and that is why these records are so worrying.
Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
Now, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission has received directive from the Office of the President to liaise with the Africans in Diaspora to ensure a successful homecoming of 2,000 descendants under the group Africa Descendants in Diaspora Union. Chairman of the Commission, Abike Dabiri Arewa, said as the Commission established to mobilize and coordinate Nigerians in diaspora affairs, it will ensure that the programs and events of the Union will be handled with top priority. She reiterates that the Nigerian government is committed to the welfare of Africans globally.
Home is not where you're going to be kidnapped and treated badly. Home is where you're going to see a lot of love and affection and warmth. The Chinese are investing on the continent. The Indians are investing on the continent. What are they saying that you are not saying?
And we believe that the international gathering in honor of the Africans in diaspora is an opportunity for all the black peoples of the world from outside Africa to come into Nigeria. 65–70% of the African descendants believe that Nigeria is their ancestral home.
There is a group called the Right to Return. I would like to especially say word to them that they're quite right. They have every right to return to their fatherland. And we will do everything to assist them to build the mega city, the memorial city, and the cenotaph. And this is just the beginning of great things to come.
The black people of the world are planning to hold an international gathering under the auspices of Africans in Diaspora 6th region in Abuja. The gathering will create opportunity for them to discuss ways of restoration and to receive reparative justice for the generations of Africans. It will also promote Africa, identify African patriots, and allow African descendants invest in their country. Advocacy for the amendments of some provisions of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015 for effective implementation of the criminal justice system is underway. Key players in the justice sector made the plea at an engagement summit on ACJA in Abuja. Judiciary correspondent Dele Atumbi has the reports.
The administration of criminal justice system of any nation determines law and order, as well as the peaceful coexistence among the people. The precision in the interpretation of the law is equally an enabler for ease of doing business and the main attraction for foreign direct investment. This is the rationale behind the one-day Stakeholders Engagement Summit on the effective implementation of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015. Key players in the justice sector agreed on the amendment of some provisions of ACJA 2015 to make it more effective. Access to justice for the participants is equally key to the attainment of equity in the society.
Our mission as stakeholders is clear: to build a criminal justice system that is fair, efficient, humane, a system where justice is not delayed, where rights are not trampled upon.
This event signifies a critical step forward in our collective efforts to enhance the administration of criminal justice in Nigeria. It is therefore imperative that we foster a culture of collaboration and synergy.
The power of the court to convict a suspect who is at large without sentencing, as provided for in the extant ACJA 2015, key players say he beats justice.
But that aspect is in contradiction with the provision of the Constitution that gave time limit for the delivery of judgment. So there is a need to amend the Administration of Criminal Justice Act to bring it in tandem with the provision of the Constitution.
The SCGMC is going to use this document to make sure that those non-custodial alternatives are properly implemented, particularly community service.
The event witnessed the unveiling of Strategic Action Plan of Administration of Criminal Justice Monitoring Committee 2024 to 2025, High Court of FCT practice direction on the efficient implementation of remand proceedings as provided for in ACJA, and the guidelines and monitoring framework for the implementation of remand proceedings under ACJA 2015. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
You're watching the news on NTA International. It's time to take a short break. More news when we return. Please stay tuned. Now, Nigerians have been enjoined not to see the Kenyan protest as a model, but rather adopt consultation and dialogue as a means for crisis management. Former Director, Defense Information, Major General, and the Board Director, Crisis Management and Communication Center, Major General Chris Ulukolade, who stated this, also expressed concern over the prevalence of fake news, hate speech, and misrepresentation of government programs and policies.
Rhetorics and posturing by some political, religious, and community leaders, and even non-state actors alike, have the potential to turn violent conflict and aggravate the already worrisome internal security challenges. The center is also concerned about the antics of those that are rooting for the idea of reenacting the anti-tax crisis that happened in Kenya. Those who believe that such destructive protests in Nigeria will be a way to resolving our crisis are rather calling for what is not consistent with our future and desire for a peaceful and progressive nation.
Similarly, stakeholders appeal to Nigerians to partner governments in controlling food prices and provide information to overcome in the fight against insecurity. To fuel matters now, motorists in Abuja are lamenting the long productive hours spent in petrol queues in search of petrol. Correspondent Lydia Sampson reports that a visit to most petrol stations in Abuja indicates that they are still bustling with queues as motorists lament that what began suddenly last week is not abating.
I left home very early, as early as 4 a.m. I couldn't get fuel until about 12 noon. That was yesterday.
Nothing has improved because when it started, there are more filling stations selling fuel. But the way he's looking at almost all the filling stations that were selling on Friday and Saturday, most of them are out of fuel.
They said it's frustrating that they have to queue for over 3 hours before they can buy petrol, while some stations have been shut down.
There is no improvement. There is no improvement. There is no any official statement from the government or NNPC what is happening.
I don't know the cause. I was even asking the fuel attendants, he said he does not even know as well. So I was even asking him, is he panic buying or what? He said he doesn't know. So I really don't even have an idea.
Motorists are appealing to the government and stakeholders to intervene towards restoring normalcy. Now, the NNPC Limited is attributing the fuel queues in the Federal Capital Territory and some parts of the country to the disruption of ship-to-ship transfer of petrol between mother vessel and daughter vessels, resulting from the recent thunderstorm. A statement from Chief Corporate Communications Officer, NNPC Limited, Olufemi Shoneye, says the adverse weather condition has also affected berthing at jetties, truck loadouts and transportation of products to filling stations, disrupting station supply logistics. The NNPC Limited also stated that due to flammability of petroleum products and in compliance with the Nigerian Meteorological Agency regulations, it was impossible to load petrol during rainstorms and lightning. The NNPC Limited says it is working with relevant stakeholders to resolve the logistics challenge and restore a seamless supply of petrol to affected areas. In a concerted effort to enhance the accessibility to clean, portable drinking water across the Niger Basin Authority, the Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation has highlighted the pivotal role of unity among member states and commitments towards improving water governance and sustainable management. Usman Zubair reports that this came to the fore as the sub-regional workshop for validating study reports of the transboundary ecosystem of the Mandara Mountains holdings in Abuja.
This regional workshop represents a unique opportunity for member countries to come together to promote initiatives aimed at sustaining the management of transboundary ecosystem and their biodiversity.
That the discussion will be fruitful and lively with relevant outcomes, commensurate with the challenges that beset the transboundary ecosystems of the Mount Mandara Plateau and Sena or Abuja Ngida.
Mount Mandara Plateau shares between Cameroon and Nigeria, while Sena or Abuja has the same ecosystem as Cameroon and Chad. These important ecosystems have garnered the attention of the Niger Basin Authority.
Aside from this expectation, we have the operationalization of the project. So the next stage is to come to this very hotel to set up a platform at the national level, both in Cameroon, Nigeria, the Chad, and that of Cameroon. So this is what we are expecting from the participants.
The expected outcome of the workshop is to deliberate and validate various study reports on how to improve water governance and sustainable management, capacity building, as well as joint management of transboundary ecosystem monitoring mechanisms. The workshop is to last for 3 days. Usman Zubair, NTA News.
In a significant move to boost Nigeria's bioenergy sector, the Federal Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology, in partnership with Monserrado Investments Limited and the Federal Institute of Industrial Research, Oshodi, has signed a memorandum of cooperation to establish a cassava-based ethanol plant in Ekiti State. The Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, Chief Uche Geoffrey Naji, while signing the MOU, said that the initiative underscores the ministry's commitments to advancing Nigeria's bioenergy value chain and promoting sustainable development. The governor of Ekiti State, Biodun Oyebanji, who was represented by the Commissioner for Innovation, Science and Digital Economy of the state, Seun Fakwade, said that there are more than 30,000 hectares of farms that are already into cassava farming in Ekiti State.
The benefit accruing from this collaboration extend across multiple dimensions. 1. Economic growth. The bioethanol project promises to generate substantial economic activities through the establishment of processing plants, creating jobs, and spurring ancillary industries. 2. Energy security. With bioethanol as an alternative fuel source, Ekiti State can reduce its dependence on non-renewable energy, thereby enhancing energy security and promoting environmental sustainability. 3. Agricultural development. This initiative will motivate farmers to increase cassava production, improve income levels and livelihoods in rural areas.
Now, President Bola Tinubu has paid tribute to the late Alhaji Surajuddin Tokunbo, whom he describes as a trusted associate, friend, brother, and dependable partner. The late Alhaji Ailara worked in the military administration of Colonel Buba Marwa as the sole administrator of Agege local governments, and later rose to become a permanent secretary in Lagos State Civil Service, and upon retirement was appointed special advisor in the governorship administration of Bola Tinubu in the state. President Tinubu, in a personally issued statement, says he first crossed paths with the deceased when he was elected governor of Lagos State, and acknowledges that Alhaji Ailara lived a life of unwavering dedication, loyalty and service. President Tinubu extends condolences to the government and people of Lagos State on the loss of the outstanding public servants. Late Alhaji Ailara passed away on June 30 at 73. Tuesday's weather forecast is next. And that's the news at this time on NTA International. We thank you for watching. I'm Lami Ali with John Bamidele, who has been the sign language interpreter. Do have a good evening.